I got there with prize money I had made from speedcubing. I had found a job from connections I had in speedcubing. I was also a Rubik's ambassador at the time, and the only income into my bank account came from being a speedcuber, and I was living independently as an adult. And it wasn't loads of money, I was living pretty frugally, but I was making it happen. Like, I was a functioning adult doing adult things solely off speedcubing money.
I have all sorts of questions for you, and it's kind of funny because I've watched so much of your stuff over the years that it kind of feels like I know you a little bit already. And I'm like kind of new to making content, so you probably know very little about me, all things considered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna go for it, and as we go, you're welcome to fire back anything you want or whatever. Um,
Sure.
you've been to a ton of different types of competitions. The Red
Yes.
Bull Cup, the GAN SSL stuff, a very wide variety of WCA comps around the world. Are there any favorite memories or experiences at competitions that stand out among all of those?
It's a good question. No, yeah, you're right. I've done so many. Obviously, I've been to the most WCA competitions. Like, I'm about to hit, I think I hit 150. My first comp next year will be my 150th WCA competition.
Wow.
But um, they're all, no matter where you go in the world with a WCA competition, they're all pretty similar. Like, you compete the same way. The people you interact with have the same attitude towards cubing. All the delegates are trained in a similar way. Um, and I love WCA competitions. Obviously, I've been to 100, almost 150.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if I didn't. Um, but when I look back on like the experiences I've had as a competitor, I think like the first one that comes to mind is the GAN Smart Cubing Super League, where I went to China in 2024
Hmm.
for this whole smart cubing competition where we used smart cubes. There was 16 competitors, but there was like hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people in the venue because they were just there to spectate and meet cubers and watch. Um, it felt like when I was at that competition, I felt like a celebrity, like
Yeah.
a bit of an ego. I came home with quite an inflated ego. Um, but it felt like we as speedcubers were celebrities and sports people, and it felt like what I wanted so many competitions to be like, and what I wanted the West, speedcubing in the West, to be like.
Hmm.
Um, and like we had our own green room where we did hair and makeup. We did like a rehearsal the night before where we practiced, and the competition wasn't without its flaws. Like, the format's a bit flawed, the smart cubes aren't 100%, the software kept playing up over and over again. Um, but just the spectacle that the competition was, it was just like, it was incredible. It was like nothing I'd done before. Red Bull, I did that a few times, but I only did it once when it was in person in
Hmm.
2018. And that was similar, but it wasn't quite there. Like, there wasn't the massive audience that we had in China for the SSL. Um, and it was close to there. And when I look back on that competition, um, I wasn't like in the best headspace for that competition at the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of struggled, and I only got third where I was expected to either win or get second in my event re-scramble. um, but when I look back at Red Bull, I feel like it was too soon. Like, when I look at the event Red Bull put on and the money they were putting into it, if they did that right now, I think they'd have quite a lot of success.
Yeah.
But I don't think we were ready for it in 2018. Um, the community just weren't happy with it. They really didn't like the idea of a different company coming in, a different organization coming in and throwing money at it. Um, and there was quite like a negative view on Red Bull.
I remember.
I think
Yeah.
they probably could have done a bit more consultation with the WCA and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they were, which is what a lot of people don't know. It's like Red Bull and the WCA were like working on stuff, and then they just ended up not working together. But yeah, to go back to your question, I think the one that stands out and was the most amazing experience was that one in China, the GAN SSL. Oh, have I lost you, or have you lost me?
Uh-oh. Is that on my end? That kind of stinks.
Oh, sorry,
Are we back? There we go.
I lost you.
Yeah.
I
I
think we're
think that
back.
might have been on my end. We're back.
All right.
Um, what about the Chinese scene do you think caused all of the attention and the fandom? You're probably not like a super expert in Chinese culture or whatever, but like, did it have to do with the nature of the fans? Does it have to do with the companies being over there? Is it something about like the way, I don't know. Do you have a sense as to why it felt more like a celebrity sport than the West?
I think cubing is just so much bigger in China. Like we don't see much of it, but I've heard of quote unquote unofficial competitions in China getting over a thousand competitors. I remember seeing a few years ago, this would have been like 2022 as well. I saw photos of a conference in China that was just for cubing coaches. And they had like a conference room, like a big room, almost like a competition venue room, full of people who were just there to share ideas about cubing coaching. There was hundreds of people in that room. It's just the scale in China is so much bigger. I feel like the West are just a few years behind. As to why we're behind, I I'm not entirely sure what started it all in China. I would guess it's because the manufacturers are there. They can they're more directly able to like sponsor competitions or sponsor schools to start cubing clubs. I'm not sure how much of that was the community working to build cubing or if it was the manufacturers like Gan and Moyu, if they were doing the hard work to make the sport grow. Um, but yeah, like the reason it was such a spectacle is because cubing is just so much bigger there. And I think Chinese culture does play into it as to like how we were we were treated as competitors. It's like they just wanted to get our autographs. They wanted to get photos with us, and I think that's part of the culture there.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you go anywhere in the world for any like the big sports, anybody wants to do that. But
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely felt a bit more. It felt a bit different there, and maybe like the language barrier played a part there. Like we're almost this like icon, like the international competitors are this icon that they just don't understand. They don't know that we're just normal people who just most of us just cube for fun.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea because they don't watch our videos. I don't honestly I don't know how they know about us. Like I don't know how these competitors know about like Matty or myself, but especially myself who's not like a GAN sponsoree. Um, I don't know where they've heard my name. I don't know if I've been reposted on Bilibili somewhere or something like that. It's all just such an unknown. And I always love listening to Antoine Cantin because he does some interviews and he has his I believe his wife is Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
and he speaks like fluent Mandarin. And he's spent a lot of time within the community and then goes home to Canada and then talks to us about it. So
Yeah.
that's always really interesting to get some insight.
I so
Um,
badly want to have him on because I would
yeah, you got to get him
love to
on.
hear about all this stuff, man. Like there's
Yeah, yeah,
so many things about like how the culture views cubing and how they view practicing and how they view like winning and competing and the amount of people that are there and how fast different people are and how the top competitors practice and perform and like there's so many questions I have about like the coaching thing that you said. It's a whole
yeah.
industry over there, the whole after school and enriching your kids thing. It's a cultural, like societal norm, and cubing fits into that. And because of like the whole government internet setup, we have no idea about any of it. And it's crazy. There's so much
Yeah.
going on. So yeah, I would love to talk to Antoine about that stuff.
I remember hearing somewhere that a region within China had like mandated cubing clubs at all schools in that region. Like, from my interpretation, it wasn't like mandated for students have to take it, but every school in that region has to have a cubing club available. And that's insane. Like, this is now the government's involved, you know, the government is helping to grow speed cubing.
Yeah.
But I would assume they got to this level because of investment from the speed cubing manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because if cubing is big for them, then like they would have hit a point where they're as big as they could have been in that industry. So they had to grow the industry to grow their business.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, I was working for Mike, the owner of speedcube.co.nz. And we hit a point where his business was as big as it could be for the industry of speed cubing in New Zealand. So to grow his business, he had to do stuff to grow speed cubing within New Zealand. So like we were doing talks at schools, he was posting more stuff, we were helping to organize competitions, all this kind of stuff, which wasn't directly to grow his business. It was just to grow speed cubing, which would then convert into, he was basically the only guy selling cubes in the country.
Right.
So whenever somebody got into speed cubing, as long as they knew the business, they would buy from him.
I'm so curious to hear about that whole speed cubing New Zealand thing, though. You are from the UK, right?
Yes.
Where in the UK did you grow up?
So I grew up in the southeast near Brighton in like a small English village, like the kind of like picturesque, stereotypical English village thing that you'd imagine. And my mum's English, but my dad's from New Zealand. So he grew up in Wellington. So that's the connection I have to New Zealand. I grew up with 2 passports, traveling to New Zealand every couple of years to visit family. But it wasn't until I was 18, it was kind of in the middle of COVID, where I moved to New Zealand on my own, partially because COVID. It was a good excuse to get out of the UK, which wasn't doing so well with COVID, and go to New Zealand, which was basically the country that dealt with COVID the best in the world.
Yeah, it was like zero anything happened there.
Yeah, exactly.
So why were you antsy to get out of the UK? Like, was going to London not enough? Like, was it the UK in general? Was it the COVID thing? Like, what prompted like I'm ready to go so much?
I feel like for some reason I just needed to do like something big. Like I remember feeling a bit stuck and not knowing what I was going to do. I had no plans to go to university at the time. I was actually homeschooled as well.
I was.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that. Wait, you were homeschooled as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Homeschool all the way through. Did like a lot of online class. I was doing online classes before COVID, so I was doing an online private school. And when COVID hit, nothing changed except that the online school I was part of 5x'd in like a month.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, "We need somewhere good," but it was great. I loved it. Had friends through church and speech and debate and sports and other stuff. But I was happy because I could learn a lot more, I felt like, than going to public school. Like I could learn way more at a much faster speed on the time that I wanted to, but I still learned a lot about like, how classes worked and stuff. And it was like harder than college in my master's degree, the high school that I did. Anyway, that's enough about me. You were homeschooled, so it was like, I'm ready to go get out and see stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I'm kind of sick of home. I need to do something. Yeah, like London doesn't feel enough. London is also really expensive, and I'm not a big fan of London personally.
Okay. Why not? I spent a month in London last summer. Got a room in a pub in Twickenham. It's a little area next to Richmond. And me and a few friends from college, we just visited a bunch of churches in London for the summer and like got to know the city, and I loved it. But what do you not like about London? Because like for me as an American, it's like public transport. This is the best. But like for you, it's like, it's just London, you know?
Yeah. London's it's like London is massive, and like there is so much to do and so much to explore and so much history there. Like I can appreciate that and I enjoy that. But I feel like whenever I go there, I just like get home and I'm just like exhausted. Like it's such a draining city.
Mm.
It's very loud. It's quite dirty. It's so expensive. Like you buy a beer and it costs you like $20, and it's like what is going on here? Um, and yeah, I can see the appeal of it. I don't. I think I would like to spend a few weeks there. I don't think I could live there. It's just not the
Not a city
lifestyle I
person.
like.
Yeah.
I do like cities. Like right now I'm in Sydney and I love Sydney. Sydney's so nice. Um, but London's just like it's too much. I think it's just too
Hmm.
much for me.
Okay.
Um, and there's probably just a growing up in a village thing. Those massive
Yeah.
cities being
Yeah.
in the middle of a massive city. Yeah, it's just a bit too much.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, like I felt like I just wanted to do something big. I wanted to get away from home and travel and do something. And I think COVID was a big influence. Like New Zealand, all I had to do was sit in a hotel for 2 weeks, so they could make sure I didn't have COVID. And then I'm in the country and there's like no COVID. At that time, there was no COVID in the country. Everybody was living lives as they were before. Um, no face masks, nothing. Like the day I got out of that quarantine hotel, I went to the mall with my mate and we walked around and it was
Hmm.
like nothing had ever changed. So that was a big factor. But another big factor was I got the job lined up
I was
with
gonna ask, was that before or
speaking.
after you went? So it was before.
Yeah, so I had the idea of moving to New Zealand before, but like nothing was confirmed. It was just like an idea forming in my head of something I wanted to do. And I remember one day I was watching a video that Mike was put on his channel, and he was talking because he bought the business off a friend of mine, and he bought the business like just before COVID. So you think probably a bad time to buy a business, but COVID really helped speedcubing in New Zealand,
Hmm.
so he got kind of
It helped
lucky.
it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and he in this video he was talking about how his orders were going up. He was quite busy, and I think he mentioned like he was getting up at like 5 a.m. or something so he could pack orders before he had to take his kids to school or something like that. And I remember thinking, huh, this guy's business seems to be doing quite well. Sounds like he's really busy. I wonder if he needs a hand. So with that idea, I just found his email and sent him an email. I mean, like, hey, I'm thinking about coming to New Zealand for a bit. I'd love to have like a base and somewhere to work, like a part-time job. Could you offer me a job? And he comes back and he's like, I could probably offer you like a part-time job, like 20 hours a week. And that was it. And then we just got talking from there, a couple of calls, a few more emails. He found me a place to stay, and I booked my flights, I booked my quarantine hotel, and I was off.
Hmm.
Which was like massive. Like an 18-year-old obviously lived at
Yeah,
home
that's
my
a
entire
huge
life.
jump.
Yeah, yeah, huge jump. Um, but it was cool. I was so excited. Of course I was nervous. Um, and I think I left maybe a month and a half after I made that decision. Um, and part of the flights and stuff were partially funded by Rescramble winnings from the Red Bull World Cup in 2020
Nice.
because
Nice.
I won like 4,000 US dollars. So that helped to pay for a lot of the stuff to get over there.
Okay. Okay. So what'd you do at the Speedcube store? Was it order packing and such, or a bunch of everything? What was it like?
So I had two job titles within the store. Because Mike actually was given a good opportunity to open a retail store within the town in New Zealand he lived in. And it wasn't big. It was him and his friend. his friend had like a video pop culture store thing. Um, and then Mike was selling speed cubes, and the video store was in the front of the building, and then Mike was in the back, and it was like bedroom sized, like not big, but big enough to sell some cubes. So when I was there, I was both the distribution manager. So yeah, I was doing packaging, doing stock checks, stuff like that. And then I was also the retail store manager, which obviously Mike helped me with because I'm 18. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then there was a few other cubers who worked at that store, so I'd help like roster them on, make sure we've got a good amount of stock down in the store, make sure it's clean, looks good, make sure all the other guys who were younger than me, they were like 16 at the time, they all were comfortable with what they were doing. And it's funny because like those guys that work there, it was like Daniel Fraser, who's now like one of the main delegates in New Zealand, Jasper Murray, who went on to break 2 Pyraminx world records,
pretty good.
And then Dwayne Ramos, one of the best
Also
one-handed
kinda
solvers
decent.
in the world,
Yeah.
one of the best one-handed all-rounders in the world, 2-time oceanic champion. And like we all always like grew up at that store working there. And obviously they were fast at the time, breaking national records, but they weren't like the world-class solvers they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And like now Daniel's like a world-class delegate, and he's one of the best delegates I know. So it was like, yeah, it was such a good experience for me. And as well as that, like Mike was great letting me in on the business side of things. Like he was never like hiding things from me. Like if he was having struggles financially with the business, he'd tell me about it. And I would help him a lot with figuring out what cubes to buy, because honestly, like selling speed cubes is not a good business. Like
It doesn't seem like
it's
it. It seems
really hard to do
exceptionally
well.
complicated and hard to like actually turn profit
Yeah.
on.
The profit margins aren't great, and especially New Zealand, like it's such a small market. You need to be so careful with the premium cubes you buy. Like a couple of times we get a box of premium cubes that just didn't take off, or we'd buy them and then Phil from the cubicle would make a video being like, oh, this isn't very good. And we're like, oh no, looks like we're not selling these tubes.
Yeah.
So we had to be like so careful of what we ordered, because if we just got like 20 premium cubes that we only sell 5, then we've just lost a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to sell almost everything to actually make a profit, because the profit margins are not great. So it's not a good business to run. Like obviously you can make it work, and Mike has made it work, but it's kind of like his side thing. And I mean, like we've seen the success of the Cubicle and Speedcube Shop, but that's a much bigger market than the 5 million people that live in New Zealand.
Yeah, they have enough market that they can like afford to keep like overstock, and they have profit margin that they can eat into if something doesn't sell, and ways to get rid of the excess inventory. Like there's a lot of ways that they can manage all the downsides because the market is so big. So
Yeah.
did you guys just not sell outside New Zealand?
At the time we didn't. One of the main reasons is speedcube.co.nz was kind of franchised off speedcube.com.au, which was a store in Australia at the time. So like we had a good relationship with them. They'd help us get puzzles and whatnot. So like part of that deal was like we didn't compete with them, which is fair enough. And also it's kind of hard to compete with them because we're just going to be selling the same stuff for more, because
because shipping.
we have to ship to Australia, which is not the cheapest thing to do. But now that store closed down, it wasn't anything bad that happened. They would just like, yeah, we're done with this. We're not really interested in this anymore. We want to move on to other things. So then Mike, moved into Australia. But but again, like there's competition there. There's Crafty Cube and Waddle Cube and what's the other one? Spark Cubing and stuff. So there's a few stores there where it's just hard to compete with them because they will just be charging less than Mike. Mostly on shipping, and also it costs Mike more to get stuff to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. When did you decide that you wanted to do cubing as a professional thing, like for life? Because most people that I've talked to so far, and I hope to talk to more, but most cubers I feel like view cubing as a seasonal thing and not an occupational thing. I'll do this while I can, but there's always an asterisk. Like they always see the end of the line. But it sounds, from what you've mentioned to me, it sounds like you want to make cubing your full-time thing, if at all possible. When did that become, like, when did you see that as realistic?
I think it was probably when I made that move to New Zealand. And that whole year, like I got there with prize money I had made from speedcubing. I had found a job from connections I had in speedcubing. I was also a Rubik's ambassador at the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Making money through that. And I had a part-time job. I was a Rubik's ambassador. And the only income into my bank account came from being a speedcuber. And I was living independently as an adult. Like my parents, I wasn't living with my parents. They weren't sending me money, nothing like that. And it was all just income that came from speedcubing. And I knew at the time that that wasn't necessarily going to be forever. Like I wasn't going to have this job forever. I wasn't intending to have that job forever. I knew that I might not have this sponsorship forever. And it wasn't loads of money. I was living pretty frugally.
Sure.
But I was so
You were
stoked
making it happen.
to be.
Yeah.
I was making it happen. Like I was a functioning adult, doing adult things solely off speedcubing money. And it didn't matter to me that, I don't know, I was living in basically a shed at the time.
Yeah.
But like that was fine. It was like my place. But I think then I was like, well, I'm doing it. Like I've done it. It's gonna change. Like I might not have this job. I might have to find something else. But like I've proven that it's possible. And since then, because I was at that job for just over a year, and then it was getting to a point where Mike's business wasn't doing quite as well, because when I went there, like it was like during the COVID boom, and I was there for the COVID boom, and then like more COVID came, and it gave issues with the business and like the retail store and stuff, and then orders started to die down because just the trend died down in schools and stuff. And then I felt that like Mike's such a good guy, and he was amazing, like almost like a I don't know, like a role model and like a mentor to me. And I knew that his business was partially struggling because I was still there and I was like an overhead for him. But he was never going to be like, hey, I can't afford to pay you anymore.
Right. He wasn't going to dump you because
he wasn't going to dump me. He wasn't going to like fire me or whatever. Like he wasn't going to do that. But I could tell that I was like a strain on the business, and like for the amount of stuff we were doing, I didn't really need to be there as like a part-time employee. And it was getting to the point where I should probably go home, see my parents. With European Championships is coming up later this year. I want to go to that. All right, let's call it a day. Let's go home. And yeah, like I look back on that experience at that store it was so good, and I learned so much. And I wish I could have done that forever. I wish I could have progressed through the company and started working full time, but it's just not a big business. Like that wasn't possible.
Oh, there wasn't room to do that.
There wasn't another job for me to take because that job didn't exist. Like Mike does it part time. So
But
yeah, like after that,
it's just so cool to me that like at 18 like your mind just like got opened. Like I am allowed to move across the entire earth and take a part-time job at a store where I'm my hobby and live in a shed, but I can do it. Like the world isn't it's free game. Like I
Yeah.
can do what I can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
do
yeah,
things
yeah.
and see what
Yeah,
works.
it's
And
just
like
free will.
yeah, and so when that happened, it was like, "Oh, I could do this. Like I could actually make
Yeah.
this happen as a full-time thing." I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. You're so right. Like it did like it opened my mind to the possibilities, and I think being homeschooled and like not being in like the traditional schooling system and pipeline and stuff opened my eyes to so many more things. Like I know so many people that they went to school and they did well at school and then they did this and they all did the same thing and then they do their bachelors and then they do their postgrad and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and they never were given the opportunity to think about the other possibilities.
Yeah.
But my whole life has been doing the other possibilities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm always looking for these weird opportunities outside of out of the box. And it just so happened that the opportunity I got was like the furthest out of the box you could think of, like the other side of the world, a job that probably everybody in the world didn't think existed. Um, so yeah, it was awesome. But there was a lot of like thinking afterwards of like what do I do now?
Hmm.
Um, like how do I make it work now? Um, at the time, like coaching wasn't big. There was not like a big interest in coaching. Um, I remember thinking like, hey, maybe I could try and go work for Phil at the Cubicle, and I talked to him for a bit about that, but I think that was just going to be a bit too difficult because of visas and all that sort of stuff. Um, so for probably like a year and a half, I basically just cubed and traveled. I did so much travel across those like year and a half. And I think part of that was like me not kind of just not being satisfied with what I was doing because I didn't know what I wanted to do and just delaying that by just traveling every couple of weeks.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm traveling. So yeah, I like at that point it started to feel like maybe this isn't possible. Like I was so close, like I had it and I've lost it again. So maybe it's not possible anymore.
The end? Question mark?
What? Yeah,
Wait,
the end.
that's not the end of the story, right? Like you're in Australia now. Like something happened.
Uh, yeah. I guess. Eventually, I decided that okay, if I don't have anything here, I don't just want to be like bumming around forever, just going to comps, losing all my saving, just traveling the world, going to competitions. As fun as that was, like at that time, I went to Copenhagen a few times. I competed in Norway, Poland. I went to America with Timon. I went to Korea. Like I went to so many places, met so many people. Um, but I wasn't really progressing in much. Like I was getting my name known a bit more. I wasn't improving that much in cubing, really. Um, I think I broke a few national records here and there. But I eventually decided, you know what, maybe I should think about university. Um, and the offer of university in New Zealand, financially was much better than the UK. Like the fees are a lot less. At the time they had a scheme where your first year was free if you're a New Zealand citizen, which I was.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, okay, well, first year's free. Why don't I just go give it a go? Um, what should I study? Business. I really enjoyed the business aspect of like working with Mike and talking to him about that. Um, likely I want to be like self-employed doing something within cubing, building maybe some sort of cubing business. Whatever I learn might actually just be useful, even if I don't finish the degree. Um, so yeah, I made the jump to New Zealand again, because before that I was like based in the UK and traveling a lot from there. Made the jump back to New Zealand, was studying business, and I remember thinking like, wow, I'm learning a lot. I think I could probably just like like start my own thing and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
read some books and learn it this way. But at least this way, I am progressing towards like a degree, where if everything fails, at least I've got that as a backup plan. I can
Yeah.
like get some marketing job somewhere. Because I ended up majoring in marketing. Um, and then I've been trying to think, okay, yeah, like what can I do? What can I build to earn me money? Um, and over the last couple of years, we've seen coaching grow a lot more in the West. Obviously, like Cubing GG, Cubing Life Academy, Dylan's seen quite a lot of success with coaching. Um, so that seemed like the best way to make money as a speed cuber. Um, like the I to be a full time speed cuber, like a competitive speed cuber, you need to be like the best in the world
Yeah.
to make a living off like the sponsorships and stuff you get. Like there's at least in the West, there's like a few people I know who make enough money from their sponsorship deals to live off it. So I knew that like, that wasn't going to be a
Yeah, that was
possibility.
out.
Like that was out. Like I'm a decent speed cuber, but considering how long I've done it and how much time I've put into it, like I don't see myself ever getting to world class.
Mhm.
I'm always just gonna be like at local competitions, I'll be one of the fastest. But like when I went to Worlds this year, it was a bit of a reality check. Like I didn't make semi-finals for 3x3, which was what, top 60. I didn't make any finals out of anything. I didn't even set a PR at that competition. Like it was like a reality check. Like yeah, like I'm good in New Zealand, I'm good in the UK, but on a world scale, like nah, I've kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was never going to be a possibility. And content creation, obviously we see people do like Team Man makes a living off it, Cubehead, all of these guys. Like they've proven that that's a possibility. But I don't really like the I don't want to make the content that I'd need to make a living off it. Like the kind of high retention rate, bam, 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 targeted at kids kind of content. Like I just don't really enjoy making that kind of stuff. I don't enjoy watching that kind of stuff. I guess because I'm in my 20s.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
makes
Same
sense.
here. Same here.
Um, so I was like, I like making content. Like I made that video for the GAN SSL, which did really well. And I was really happy with that video. So I could see myself making more videos, but I don't think making the kind of videos where I'd be able to live off it. So like coaching kind of became the only option, for an income within speed cubing. And I'd started doing coaching with this one guy who was a dad of one of my mates in Auckland. And he actually watches your channel. So shout out Richard. He likes your stuff. So he'll probably be listening to this. But I did coaching with him. I really enjoyed it. Like being able to share my knowledge with other cubers and then see them improve. I'm like, this is fulfilling. Like I could do this and I could be satisfied. Like it's so great to then go to a competition and you watch that person set a PR and you're like, that was like I played a part in that.
Yeah.
So I think now I want to be building the coaching. Like right now it's still very small. I haven't pushed it much. Like obviously Dylan and I have the Millisecond podcast, which gets me some clients, but it seems like it's getting him more clients, which kind of makes sense because he is faster than me. So I need to do a few more things, and work on my content, posting more videos, and using that as a way to promote the cubing and kind of tie it all together, make this whole ecosystem of me get my name out there more, and then make sure that when people learn my name, they also learn that I do coaching, and the coaching is for everybody. Like I literally coach somebody in their 70s.
Yeah,
like
that's so
this
cool.
awesome guy. And I coach someone who's like 9. Like and from like 8 seconds to a minute. Like it's such a wide variance, which is it's so difficult to coach different speeds because what I
Yes.
teach to one person is just completely inapplicable to somebody else.
Yep. Having deep enough knowledge to be able to work with a beginner and work with an extreme expert and explain in a way that all of them will understand is very, very difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
So
different skill from being fast. Like Dylan was talking about this, how the fastest cubers are really good at certain things and they can't hardly explain the things that they're
yeah,
good at. It's like,
yeah,
I just
exactly.
do it, bro. And like the skill of
Yeah,
communicating this like knowledge and breaking it down into it's like learning a language is the analogy I'm starting to think of. Like you don't think about how English works when we talk. We just do it. We just express
yeah,
ourselves. But when you're teaching somebody English for the first time, you don't tell them every word and be like, just know this word. Like always, like know the word and the context. You give them reasons, you give them rules. You don't just tell them this is how it works, memorize it. And so, like with
yeah,
cubing, as a coach, you have to provide that bridge of rules and frameworks and know how to diagnose somebody who's really slow and really fast and present all the information they need at whatever skill level they're at. So, yeah, it is a really cool
yeah,
skill set.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's made me a better speed cuber. Like as I'm coaching these other people, I'm almost like coaching myself at the same time because I'll like watch a flaw in their solves and I'll be like, wait, I do that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Teaching for sure
Like
makes you better at your own thing.
yeah, it's made me more conscious of like just throwing in diag pairs and giving myself terrible cases without thinking about it. It's made me more aware of my EO. It's made me more aware of planning more in F2L and not just starting the first when I immediately see cross +1. Like all this sort of stuff I've started to think about more in my solves because I've watched other people do it and I'm like, I should probably practice what I teach, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it's like I want to give my like 3x3 solving like kind of one last crack. Like everything I know that I need to be doing, I want to get the point where I've implemented all of that as almost like an example. Like I want to use myself, be able to use myself as a testimonial. Like
Yeah.
I did all of this stuff and then I got oceanic record average or something like that. Like that's kind of like a goal. At the moment I'm almost passively working towards. I would love to beat Felix's 553 OCR. But I'm further away from that than a lot of other people in the continent.
Yeah.
But like that's a big goal. I would love to do that. I would love to become oceanic champion. I think like long term, I would love to get a sub 5 official average. That might take me 5 more years. Like I haven't
Bro,
even
if
got
you're
sub
saying
6
you're
yet.
washed already, like good luck with that one.
Yeah. But like there's some solves I do where I like that was a normal solve and it was sub 5. And when that happened, like obviously like there was some luck, like the pairs flowed together really well. The last layer cases were like really easy to finger trick or whatnot.
But it's
But
possible.
when I get those cases, I'm like, it's possible. Like I could realistically do this every time. I've just got to get more consistent. My turning's got to get more consistent. I want to learn full ZB. I want to practice it like One Yu practices it with like the recognition and every angle and stuff like that. And it feels achievable. Whether I get there or not, I don't know. But it's fun to have like sub 5 average as that like long-term goal that
Yeah.
I may spend the rest of my career trying to get. It
Yeah.
may come in like 3 years or something. It may come like I'm yet to do it at home.
Yeah. And an idea that I heard recently that I really liked is that the goals, when properly set, are impossible to meet. Because if
Yeah,
a goal can reasonably be met, it becomes your ceiling, not something you're actually working toward. Like I will work until, and then when I hit this point, I stop. But if your goal is either a process goal or a really far in the distance thing, then everybody involved working toward the goal is just like all systems go, get this direction, and then you're not going to lose steam because everybody's working at full tilt. Business
yeah,
idea, but kind of cool.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm really curious. Switch subjects here. You're on
All right.
the sports organization team or committee. What's it called in the WCA?
The WCA Sports Organization Team,
Yes. Okay.
WSOT.
So, what is the purpose of that committee? Define what you do.
The purpose of that committee is to get WCA internationally recognized as a sport.
Okay.
And that involves getting us recognized by sporting organizations such as like the International Olympic Committee, which,
So-
to clarify, that doesn't mean we're going to be part of the Olympics. The
Mhm.
International Olympic Committee, the IOC, they recognize a bunch of sports that will likely never be part of the Olympics, like mini golf and like I think like sport poker and all sorts of stuff that will likely never make their way into the Olympics, but they are also just a governing body for sport. And if you, as a sport, get recognition from these sporting entities, it opens doors for government grants. Like as if we're organizing like the Oceanic Championships in Sydney or whatever, the organization team can go to the government and be like, hey, we're putting on this sporting event. Give us a bunch of money. And then they'll be like, sure, here's money. I've heard of like individuals, they could go, hey, I want to travel to here to represent Australia in this sporting event.
Yeah.
Can I get this grant? Yeah. And it opens a lot of doors on a global scale for that kind of thing. And also for brands. If the WCA can say, hey, we're this international sporting, like internationally recognized sporting organization, brands are more likely to trust the WCA and give them more money.
Yeah. So hypothetically, is there a path for cubing to be in the Olympics? And if so, what is it?
That's like, there's a possibility it's in the Olympics, like a vague possibility. That's not really the goal of the WSOT. Like that's never really been a goal of being in the Olympics. It's just making the organizational structure stronger, and working towards these goals, which will get us internationally recognized as a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that ends up in the Olympics. I think it's quite far-fetched to expect that, because like at the moment we've not really seen, there's not a comparable sport at the Olympics.
Oh, there's
like
totally
everything in the
not.
Olympics is all very physical. Like maybe the most comparable is like the lawn bowls stuff they do. That's probably like the least physical sport at the Olympics. So yeah, I don't see it as it's a very small possibility.
Sure. So if, what do you think is the likelihood of separate cubing leagues, like let's say PSL as a current example, or other similar bodies in the future, like of their competitions being recognized by the WCA? So like if PSL were to get bigger and polish up their broadcasts and grow a bigger audience, is there a future, is there an alternate timeline where the WCA moves away from being like the organizing body and toward being like the record keeping and governing body, and then other entities are the ones who organize and put on the competitions? Or is that not something that's like I'm trying to feel out what sort of things that committee does, thinks about, doesn't do, doesn't think about.
Yeah. That kind of, to an extent, it already happens. Like the WCA doesn't organize competitions.
Sure.
Regional organizations organize competitions. So like Speed Cubing Australia is like organizes events, and they are an organization within Australia. I think there is a possibility that the WCA would work more closely with like GAN's Mod Cubing Super League or PSL. I see that as a possibility. Right now that's not really like our wheelhouse. That I think that's something the board are more involved with.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to see more like the WCA doing more stuff with quote unquote competitors, because the PSL are a competitor to the WCA, but right now they're doing something completely different to the WCA. And now we're seeing the WCA trying to build this new format, this head-to-head format, almost to compete with the PSL. But I know it's something WCA have been working on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the PSL has sped up that process because they want to be in the picture when spectator speed cubing becomes bigger. But I think there's a world where the WCA starts to accept all these other format competitions within their database and their regulations and stuff. I think they just need to be quicker to adapt their regulations to suit what other organizations want to do, like the PSL.
Yeah. Okay. Super cool. I'm getting close to time on my end. Are there any extra? I have two last questions for you, but before we get to those, are there any additional topics that you want to say, ask about while we're recording?
I want to ask you a question. So obviously I've been watching your videos. I like your videos. I like what you talk about, because I'm like a business nerd as well. But you have these goals, for like you want to make the World Championship finals by 2031. Is the idea of that like your a far-fetched goal, like we talked about before, where you don't want to set the ceiling too low? Is that the idea of the goal, or do you like wholeheartedly believe that you're going to achieve that?
No, that's a legitimate, I want to make that happen goal. I don't mean world championship though necessarily. I say major, so I'm willing to do Euros or US Nationals as well. So I see US Nationals as like the most likely place where I can make 3x3 finals, because like there would be way less Chinese competitors, and Chinese competitors will be dominating over the next 5 years. But 4 through 7, I don't see being an issue. That's just time and work.
Yeah.
Those are like very linear improvement. But I do mean that when I say that. Right now I practice 3 to 4 hours a day. Luke Greiser and I do coaching every other week. And I don't know all of what will go into that. It might mean that sometime 2 years from now, I'm like, well, looks like I need to practice 6 hours a day now and do 2 a days, or I do a 3-hour morning and a 3-hour night session. It's like, I don't know. But I want to make it happen. The single biggest driver in my life is competing, like the feeling of winning. And I've never had that in cubing, ever. And I've always chosen to like not chase it, because there were other areas of my life, like college or relationships or work or fitness, where I was going to chase that feeling instead. But I do mean it. I do actually want to make that happen over the next few years. And I don't expect anything of note to happen this year. I expect to do nothing interesting at all at US Nationals other than learn how a major championship works. But maybe in 2 years, I squeak into like 6 finals, luckily, or something. But 5 years is a long time, dude. A really long time.
Yeah, and, it is. Honestly, I think I missed the fact that you were talking about major championships, not world championships as well.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, it does seem achievable. I think it will be really cool to see somebody like of your age. Because how old are you? 27?
I'm 22.
22? I thought someone said you were 27. Wait, you're younger?
There you go.
Okay. That's crazy. All right. Wait, how do you have a master's if you're 22?
It took me 3 years from the day I started college to the day I finished my master's degree. That's crazy. I did a full year of college per semester. So average load is 5 classes. I took 9 to 10 at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did a lot of work at once. Like I did not do it at normal speed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, what I was saying is like someone in their, I don't think we've ever seen someone like late in their speed cubing career, like who started when they were young and then kind of just like coasted for a while, like it was just a hobby for a while. Suddenly it'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna get real quick and pull it off. Um, like to that extent. Like I know a few people who've had like their comebacks, um, but not to like that sort of scale. Um, because yeah, you'll be what in 5 years? Yeah, you that in 5 years
27.
you'll be
I'll be
27. No,
27 in
yeah,
5 years. Yeah. I don't think that that's an issue though. Felix is 30 now, or he might
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and he's as fast as he's ever been. And the reason that he's not faster is because he like manages the Australian government's hedge fund. Like, of course he doesn't
yeah,
have time to practice a lot. But for me, um, I considered like, do I want to go the all in on business route? And the answer is pretty equivocally no, unequivocally no, because I want more flexibility and I have ADHD like very severely. And
hmm
one of the things I've learned about myself is that having multiple things going on in my life at once is where I'm the healthiest. So if all I had to do was school, I would have gone insane in college. But being able to mix school and work and cubing on the side and fitness on the side, like seriously pursuing between like two or three major things at once is where I'm the healthiest. So I didn't want to choose a business path that was primarily like all consuming. And I don't think
yeah,
cubing is all consuming either. Like, really, I don't think you can practically practice more than 5 hours in a day, maybe six. Like, at least in terms of like useful practice time, which leaves like
yeah,
a solid 6 hours of work life, like work time in a day, in addition to like 2 hours of gym and then extra for like relationships and stuff that I could use on earning money in business to support myself and my family. So it's like, I think it is feasible over the next 5 years if I actually dedicate to it, train really intentionally. Like I know of nobody who, in the West at least, who trains like I do, or trained past tense like I do, where it's like track literally everything, analyze everything every week, make improvement notes, have a coach the whole way through. Like Chinese cubers do this for sure. But
yeah.
it's an experiment. Like if I fail, great. It's all documented and on the internet, and the cubing community can learn from it. And if I make it happen, like, dude, that's the best dad lore ever. Like, son.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Yeah,
So that's kind of how I think about it. Like worst case scenario, it's like the greatest story of all time. And best case scenario, um, I do some pretty cool stuff.
yeah. No, I think it's good to hear like what your actual what's actually going on in your brain because like sometimes it's hard to distinguish between somebody who's like manifesting this thing and just putting a goal out there where they're like yeah like I just like real I'm trying to hit this but maybe I won't
Yeah.
to someone who like actually fully believes they're gonna achieve that goal. Like I feel like sometimes I watch Luke Grice's stuff and I see him put this stuff out there where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna become
Hmm.
like the world record holder and stuff like that. And I feel like surely he knows, like he's a quick cuber, but surely he knows that that's like not that achievable.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Well,
I'm
that's,
thinking like maybe that's just like manifesting this thing.
yeah, I don't really believe in the whole manifesting thing. And I never really plan to make videos quite like Luke or like, like go into a comp with that mentality.
Yeah,
My mindset is, and I'm going to make a video about like goal setting and mindset and all of this, but my mindset is you have to have an outcome goal. If you don't, you're aimless. But outcome goals generally are really dumb because they have a shelf life. If you hit it, then the goal is over. And the outcome is not what matters. What matters is the day-to-day process. So people look at, someone who makes a lot of money in, let's say, investment banking, and they're like, I want to be an investment banker because they make lots of money and it's really stable. And it's like, okay, that's sick. But then you look at what an investment banker actually does day to day. Do you want the life that is associated with that outcome? The hours in the office, the type of work they do, the type of people they're around, etc. And so for me, the outcome goal only matters insofar as like a general principle. What actually matters is the way I live my day-to-day life something I love doing and will keep doing every day? And is that day-to-day life set up in such a way that it is essentially inevitable that I meet my goal eventually. So if I set up my day-to-day life such that I'm going to do 3 to 4 hours of dedicated training 6 days a week and get constant feedback on it, and I'm going to do it for 5 years, it's like very likely that I make a major final for something in 5 years, right? Because like the process is set up such that that outcome is kind of natural. I don't know if the outcome will happen or not. I'm just going to do the work, as much work as I possibly can, as hard as I possibly can, so that it is kind of silly that I wouldn't hit the goal. And if I don't, it's fine. I did everything within my power along the way to get there. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But like, really, it comes down to doing an unreasonably massive amount of work. Like, it has kind of broken my brain learning how much the Chinese cubers practice every day. But that's why they're fast. Like, yes, coaching, and yes, growth structure, and yes, whatever. They practice like 5 hours a day of focused practice. Of course, they're destroying all of us over here in America. Like, they're doing all the hard stuff that Americans are unwilling to do, like 3-pair inspection training and learning full ZV and spending most of their time practicing it. And then out of nowhere, they get sub 6. That's like, well, no. They've been spending their entire like literally their entire life up to this point practicing cubing. So if I can, in a small way, replicate that, I would imagine that I can get a smaller version of those results. But it'll take time.
Yeah.
And until, like, another angle of this is you were like, it's hard to tell the difference if you're manifesting or you mean it. The way you tell the difference is by watching the work, right? So right now, I've been putting content up for like 6 weeks or something. And I've been practicing for like 9. And in that 9 weeks, I started at like 13 and now I'm at 10. Like 13.3 was my first average of 100. And this week, yesterday, I did a 10.2 average of 100. So like, I've dropped a good bit in the last 9 weeks and it'll slow down. But like 2 years from now, people might realize I'm serious. But for right now, you're right. Nobody knows if I'm serious or not because I haven't done enough work to back up the claim yet. And that's okay. Like, I'll be here. I'll be working. And if later people look at it and they're like, dang, he meant it, that's fine. But until then, I'm happy doing my thing. And if people recognize it, then sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's fun to have a few people who are starting to see it and be like, oh, this guy's legit. Like, I think he might actually mean what he's saying and not just like making content out of it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else from you? I have 2 last questions for you.
Nah, shoot.
Cool. Okay. So first question is, what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy?
I think with cubing, the thing that makes me appreciate it so much is that we all want to get faster and win, but we're all supporting each other to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the community that fosters speed cubing, it's, at least in the West, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to break PRs, I'm trying to win, but my battery's dead on my camera. Can you say? Oh, all right. Is that back? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we're good.
But yeah, I think like it's so cool to see somebody break their PR and the reaction of their friends. Like, everyone is always so stoked for you if you break a PR, and you're so stoked for them if they break a PR or a national record or anything. And I think that brings me a lot of joy. Like seeing a mate of mine who I know has been practicing and has this goal, like, make that goal. And like, we're all celebrating that fact, no matter how fast they are. Like, we're all celebrating the fact that they had this goal and they made it. And then see, like, when, like, you yourself, like I myself would like break a national record or break a personal record or some sort of goal. Everybody around me, all those friends that I supported to break when they broke their goals, support me when I broke mine, or support me when I'm trying to break records or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's so special about speed cubing. Like it is competitive, but in like the friendliest way possible.
Yeah. No animosity anywhere. Like the best in the world can, like, for almost all cubing's history, just looks at the second best and is like, I love you. And if you beat me, that's great. We're friends.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing is, this is a weekly thing. So every show I get a question from the previous person to ask the next one. So
Okay.
last time Gianfranco said, if you were not invested into cubing, what would you be equally invested into instead?
It's a good question. Right now, I am getting obsessed with tennis. Like, I
Okay.
barely played it, but I'm like building this idea that I want to start playing a bunch of tennis. I played it a couple of times. I have a friend from Auckland who I gave him a coaching lesson for cubing, and in exchange, he gave me a coaching lesson for tennis because he's a tennis coach, and it was so much fun. So I think right now, if I wasn't doing cubing at all, I would be like full in on tennis, even though like I suck at tennis right now. Um, but I would like to get quite good at it, and I probably will start playing tennis a bit more anyway.
Love it.
Um, so I think that's where I'd be at the moment. Probably tennis, but definitely nowhere near as good at tennis as cubing.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you so much for making the time to do this, Chris. It was a lot of fun
No,
talking
it
to you,
was.
hearing your story, and glad to know you're rooting for me as I do my crazy shenanigans over here. We'll see if it goes
Yeah, I've got
anywhere.
some motivation to pick up my cube now and do some souls after this.
Cool. Get after it, man. Send me your question for the next guest on Discord,
Okay.
and I will hand it off to my next victim.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
I get to know who the next guest is, or is that part of the thing?
No, you don't. That's part of the mystery. Otherwise, you
Okay.
could ask
All
something
right.
specific to that person.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But
Yeah. I'll think of
I
something.
will say, the next people I have on the docket, I've got Stu Cube coming. I've got Caden Lee, Cuber Caden coming on. Um, I've got who else do I have? Oh, Luke Greiser, I'm planning to have on as well. So I've got a few guys. So someone in that arena.
Okay. Yeah. I'll think of something.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much, dude. And talk to you soon.
Thank
Stay in
you.
touch. You're welcome to message me, hang out anytime.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I will.
Cool. All right. See you, bro. Bye for now.
See ya.